Not all the signs of a bad relationship are obvious. Sometimes it's the small things that pile up until you start feeling invisible, unappreciated, and stuck in something that isn't good for you. But how do you know if this is happening to you? In today's video, I'm going to show you 7 things you should never tolerate from a man, and number 5 is one of the most dangerous. Stick around until the end, because ignoring these signs could lead you down a path that's hard to escape. Attitude. Number 1, lack of respect, girl. Respect is the foundation of any relationship. If a guy treats you badly, makes jokes at your expense, or acts like your opinions don't matter, that's a huge red flag. Many times, this disrespect starts subtly, with a sarcastic comment or an offhand joke. But if you let it slide, it can turn into something much worse. And the truth is, if he doesn't value you now, don't expect him to change later. How many times have you heard someone say, "Oh, that's just how men are"? No, they're not. Respect is not a minor detail. It's the bare minimum. If he constantly interrupts you, mocks your opinions, or makes jokes at your expense, that should never be normalized. A relationship should be a safe space where you feel valued and heard, not diminished, and if he disrespects you in front of others, that's even worse. A man who rudely corrects you, raises his voice, or makes jokes about you in front of his friends isn't just playing around. He's showing that he doesn't care about your feelings. The worst part is that he might act better when you're alone, but completely change in front of others. That's a big warning sign that he doesn't truly appreciate you. The problem is that, at first, this disrespect can be so subtle that you don't even notice it. And before you know it, you've gotten used to being treated poorly. But don't fool yourself. If there's no respect now, there won't be any later. And speaking of behaviors that start off small, but reveal a lot about a man's character, here's another one that can be extremely frustrating. Attitude number 2. Lack of interest in listening to you. Talking to someone who genuinely listens is essential in any relationship. But what if you're speaking and you can tell he's just waiting for his turn to talk? Or worse, what if he simply ignores what you're saying? If a guy has no interest in listening to you, it means he doesn't value your thoughts, feelings, or experiences. It might seem like a small thing at first, but over time, the feeling of talking to yourself becomes suffocating. Now, imagine you had a tough day and just want to vent. You start telling him what happened, and before you even finish, he's already on his phone or changing the subject. It makes you feel invisible, doesn't it? A real partner cares about your life, asks questions, remembers what you've said, and wants to know more. Conversations should be a two-way street, not a monologue where only one person talks while the other pretends to listen. If he constantly interrupts you, doesn't give space for your thoughts, or downplays your concerns, that's also a problem. Healthy communication means truly listening and showing genuine interest. When a man really cares, he wants to know how your day was, pays attention to details, and remembers what you said. These small gestures make all the difference. Now think about this. If he doesn't even care about what you say, can you really trust him to be honest about other things? Some behaviors reveal more than we realize and can destroy a relationship before it even begins. Attitude number 3. Constant lying, girl. Trust doesn't just happen, it's built with transparency. If a guy lies all the time, even about small things, it shows that he doesn't care about being honest with you. At first, it might seem harmless. A little excuse here, a small omission there, but before you know it, you have no idea what's true anymore. And living with that constant doubt can wear down any relationship. Lies aren't always obvious. Sometimes it's a tiny detail that doesn't add up, a story that changes over time, or an omission he justifies by saying, "I didn't want to worry you." That's not protection, it's manipulation. If you feel like you have to piece things together to figure out the truth, that's already a red flag. A healthy relationship shouldn't feel like a guessing game. The worst part is that when a man lies repeatedly without consequences, he gets comfortable doing it. A real partner understands that honesty can be difficult, but still chooses to be truthful. Someone who lies about small things today might hide something much bigger in the future. If he's already shown this pattern, ask yourself, how far can this dishonesty go? And there's more. Beyond lying, there's another behavior that might seem like affection at first, but can turn into something much more toxic over time. Attitude. Number 4, excessive jealousy, and control at. First, a little jealousy might seem cute. Phrases like, "I only feel this way because I care about you," give the impression of affection, but affection and control are two very different things. If he wants to know where you are at all times, questions your friendships, or criticizes the way you dress, that's not love, that's possession. And no one deserves to live in a suffocating relationship. Control often starts subtly. First, he comments on your clothes, then he complains about your social media posts. Little by little, he starts finding faults with your friends and making you feel guilty for going out without him. Suddenly, you realize you're changing your behavior just to avoid arguments. What once seemed minor now makes you think twice before making any decisions. A secure man trusts you and respects your freedom. If he feels threatened every time you go out without him or tries to impose rules under the disguise of concern, the problem isn't you. It's his insecurity. Real love doesn't suffocate, doesn't control, and doesn't make you feel guilty for being yourself. You don't need to constantly prove yourself to anyone. And speaking of effort, have you ever noticed how some men do everything to win? You over at the beginning, but then stop putting in any effort. This is one of the clearest signs of how much he truly cares about being with you. Attitude number 5, lack of effort in the relationship. At first, everything feels like a dream. He texts you all the time, plans dates, shows affection, but over time, that attention starts to fade. Suddenly, you realize that you're the one always reaching out first, planning the dates, and trying to solve conflicts. And then the question arises, if you stopped making an effort, would the relationship even continue? When someone truly cares, it shows in their actions. It doesn't have to be anything grand. Small gestures make all the difference. Asking how your day was, remembering your favorite coffee, making plans together, these things show that he still values the relationship. But if he's no longer making an effort to keep the connection alive, it means he's gotten too comfortable. And a relationship can't survive on autopilot. If everything turns into an excuse, "I don't have time," it's just a phase, you're expecting too much. It's time to open your eyes. Effort doesn't mean constant surprises, but it does mean showing that the other person is a priority. When interest is real, it doesn't disappear after the chase. The bare minimum you give should also be the bare minimum you receive. A relationship is a two-way street, not a solo effort. Now, what about when he not only stops making an effort, but also tries to downplay your achievements? Some behaviors go beyond simple disinterest and may actually be an attempt to dull the shine of the person next to him. Attitude number 6, undervaluing your achievements. A real partner is happy for your success. If he belittles your victories, ignores your efforts, or even seems bothered when you accomplish something, that's a major red flag. Healthy relationships are built on mutual support. If instead of celebrating your achievements, he always finds a way to minimize what you do, know this: the problem isn't you, it's his insecurity. Maybe you land a new job, receive an important compliment, or reach a personal goal and he reacts coldly. Instead of celebrating with you, he says, "It's not a big deal," or changes the subject. Sometimes this devaluation comes disguised as sarcasm, making your hard work seem insignificant. But if someone who should be supporting you acts this way, the issue isn't your success, it's that he doesn't want to see you outshine him. A secure man is proud of the woman by his side. He encourages, supports, and celebrates your accomplishments because he understands that one person's growth doesn't take away from the other. An insecure man, however, sees your progress as a threat. Instead of dealing with his own feelings, he chooses to bring you down. And the worst part? Over time, this can erode your confidence and make you doubt yourself. And what about when someone doesn't even bother to appreciate the little things? If he acts like your presence, affection, and dedication are a given, without ever reciprocating, that says a lot about how much he truly cares. Before we move on to the next attitude, I have an important message for you. Did you know there's something that triggers such a deep desire in a man that he can't even explain it? It's a little-known secret, but it can completely transform your relationship or your search for love. Want to know what it is? Watch the video in the comments. You'll be surprised by what you discover. Attitude number 7, lack of affection and consideration, girl. Love is shown in the details. It doesn't have to be anything grand. It's the way he looks at you, the tone of his voice when he speaks, the little gestures in daily life. If he never asks how you're doing, doesn't bother to hug you, compliment you, or show affection, something is wrong. Being with someone and still feeling alone is one of the worst feelings there is. The issue isn't just a lack of romance, but a lack of consideration. Does he forget important dates? Never offer words of encouragement? Seem indifferent to what makes you happy? That shows he's not paying attention to what truly matters. When someone loves you, they show it. When someone cares, they make an effort to make you feel special, even in the small things. If you find yourself constantly giving but receiving little to nothing in return, it's time to rethink things. Love shouldn't be a constant struggle to be noticed. Affection and attention shouldn't have to be begged for. They should come naturally. And if he only makes an effort when he feels like he might lose you, that means he knows what to do, but simply chooses not to do it on a daily basis. Now, stop for a moment and ask yourself, have you been accepting less than you deserve? Recognizing these signs is already a big step, but the next one is even more important. Knowing how to act so you don't stay trapped in a relationship that doesn't make you happy. If this video helped you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. And be sure to check out the next video playing on your screen right now. See you there!